Hi everyone, Mon here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome if you're new here. This channel is called Intuitive Soul Savant and my name is Mon. So I'm an astrologer, numerologist. I've studied many mediums. I've been at it for 4 decades, easy. So we're going to look at the full moon today. Now I said I'd be here Monday with that video. However, I did mention on Saturday that this full moon at 9 degrees, 55, 56 minutes, between 9 and 10 degrees, exactly conjuncts my natal moon in Sagittarius. So this full moon is in Sagittarius. And they call it a blue moon because it's actually on the 31st of May, and we did have a full moon early May. So when there's two full moons, they call it a blue moon. There you go, every blue moon. So as I said, the energy came in Monday, and I expected it, obviously. You don't get many full moons conjunct exactly your natal moon at birth. It's very rare because of the cycle that the moon moves around to cover each degree, okay, and sign, okay, so it's very rare, and already, it takes a lot to actually get under my skin these days, but this full moon has already done that. Yeah, and I'll explain all of that energy. So as I said, the sun will be at 9, 10 degrees Gemini, and this moon will become exact in Sagittarius, 9 degrees, 55 minutes. Now, there's other aspects being made for this full moon, okay? The only square that the moon is going to make is to the nodes, the north node in Pisces and the south node in Virgo. However, it is a wide orb. Those nodes are sitting at 3 degrees, 45 minutes of the Pisces Virgo axis, okay? And this full moon is, at 10. So it's like a 6-degree orb, okay? But it doesn't matter. It's still in play. And when it's the nodes of the moon, those points, the nodes of the moon, come from the orbit of our moon, okay? So squaring those nodes, that's just a little bit more energy for us to, as this time is ending with the nodes in Pisces and Virgo, there's always work to be done, okay? Always work to be done. And we've got Uranus. Uranus is getting very close to squaring these nodes as well. Now, this full moon, the sun will conjunct, not exactly, we've got a wide orb there. Uranus is at 2 degrees Gemini, so that's an 8-degree orb, but it's still there. And, Uranus is surrounded there with Vesta and with Ceres, okay? So the reason I want to mention Vesta and Ceres is because on Monday we had Mars in Taurus square Pluto in Aquarius, okay? And that's Ceres and Vesta. Ceres more so in a maternal instinct way, and Vesta, very similar to a Pluto energy, right? Both of those are very similar, or give me that flavour of that Pluto energy, the evolving, the feminine energy, okay? So, that's 8 degrees, 8, 9 degrees. So it is a wide orb, but in saying that, on the 26th, when Mars squared Pluto, I'm thinking, well, I protect my energy so beautifully, that I didn't expect that energy would touch me. However, having this full moon conjunct my natal moon, I found myself going to my car Monday. I had a doctor's appointment at 15 minutes to get there, which is fine. I'd had a light come on the car, and I'd been at the mechanic, and I said, and it all had to do with the radiator and the coolant, which is an important part to the car. And, if you muck around with that and you don't see to that, well, the car can just seize, and that's the end of your motor. So, we'll call the car Gemini energy because it is Gemini energy. Cars, transport, it's all getting from A to B. Everything that works under the bonnet is one part talking to another part, okay? Gemini rules local travel, distance, getting from one place to another. And we know that Sagittarius energy is similar in the sense that it's long distances, like international travel. Okay, so picture that. So my car, the Gemini energy, I was going away next week for 2 weeks. As you know, I live quite simply, so I'd saved for months and months to go away next week. And, cutting the story short, my car needs the same amount of money, $2,000, to have it fixed so it's able to be registered. And that was the money to go away. So now I can't go away, all right, because I need the car, obviously, for my day-to-day life. So Mars square Pluto, Mars in Taurus, your belongings, your security. The car can be a security. Squaring Pluto in Aquarius, and then that day and the next day, and then the full moon energy came in. Okay, so I can't travel, which is the Sag full moon energy, and having that sun in Gemini opposing that full moon, the car. The car. So that was quite upsetting to me. I got upset as any human would, because my will was not going to happen. Okay, I could have made my will happen and gone away with very little money, but that defeats the purpose of having a break and enjoying oneself. I like to spend money just as much as anybody else does. So I've already processed this full moon, and, Uranus in Gemini. Bang. Surprise. Your car, Gemini, needs $2,000 repairs. Surprise. So, and Uranus is conjuncting my my North Node in Gemini, okay, at 3 degrees, 30 minutes and 3 seconds, 3. So, when we look into our charts and we're affected by any of the transits, it's your whole chart. And I could easily see what's going on here. Easily. I can see Uranus in Gemini, surprise, with, in orb of a coming full moon, right? So change. Uranus is change. Uranus is surprise. Gemini is cars. So there you go. So there's a little tidbit for you. So in the next 7 years, if you have surprise repairs to your car, well, you know where that energy is coming from. It is coming from Uranus transiting Gemini. Okay. And, Gemini ruling local travel. I was only going 6 hours up the road north into another state, to my little soul family, who is the only sort of people, I guess you could, that have invited me into their family and given me a sense of belonging to a family, as I have no contact with any of my family, extended and intimate family. So there you go. I hope I'm not up for any more surprises because I had to process that. I had to process that. But containing the light that I contain, it doesn't take long. It's not meant to be, obviously, for some reason. Okay, for some reason. So, this full moon, we will have the Sun conjunct Uranus, Ceres, and Vesta. We will have the Sun sextile to Saturn in Aries and sextile to Neptune. Wide orb, but with the Saturn is at 12 degrees of Aries, right? So it's quite a close sextile. Now we're talking Saturn here, and just in my example, Saturn is restriction, constriction in Aries, the self. So even though it's a sextile, which we call good energy, Saturn has still behaved as Saturn. And isn't it lovely? I guess Saturn has helped me because if I didn't know about those repairs needing done, I could have blown up my motor, right? So thank you, Saturn. But, you've restricted me from going on my little holiday because now I've got to spend that money on the car, which I need to get from A to B, Gemini, okay? And, Aries is quite me, I. And with Saturn there, it's like I am not able to travel locally, all right? And look, this isn't for everybody. I'm just sort of giving you an example because this full moon is conjunct my natal moon exactly, right? Exactly. So no orb, so right on. So, that's what the Sun will be doing in Gemini, conjuncting Uranus, sextiling Saturn and Neptune. So my dream of going away, has been restricted as well, all right? Now, the moon in Sagittarius will be trining Saturn and trining Neptune and opposing the Uranus, Ceres, and Vesta. Okay, so yes, trines are easy, lovely energies, but we're dealing with Saturn here. Just because there's a trine on, Saturn doesn't go, oh, okay, I just won't do restriction this day. I won't do constriction this day. Oh, let myself fly easy, No, it doesn't happen. Saturn, all right? Saturn is Saturn, whether it's a good aspect or a challenging aspect. But at least with the good aspect, I knew before I got on the road, had I gone away, my God, it would have cost me so much more to get the car fixed because I have a very reliable mechanic who cares about my car, So I'm looking at the bright side, looking at the positive side. I will end up having to be at home for a couple of weeks with no clients because obviously I've cancelled all my work for those 2 weeks. So we'll just see what happens, shall we? There must be a good reason for it. That's all I can think. Okay, so that's what we've got going on. So really, the Naki energy is just the moon opposing Uranus and Uranus conjuncting the Sun, but the Sun is already exactly conjunct Uranus. So, it is still in orb. Okay, so that energy is still active, hence, surprise, your car needs big money spent on it. Now, we've got something else with this full moon, all right? Now, we have fixed stars. There's 4 royal stars, okay? And they are fixed stars. They don't move around. They don't have an orbit, all right? So Antares sits at 9 to 10 degrees of Sagittarius. So this full moon is going to become exact right on Antares, all right? Antares is often seen as a rival to Mars energy, okay? So Antares can be like the purest expression of Mars, and also you can say Jupiter. So a pure expression of Mars, would be the will and energy to take action and the passion to take action. And it is a thing because I don't have any passion at the moment. I'm still going through a rebirth energy from Pluto in Capricorn. So I'm well aware that I'm not real passionate about anything anymore. Yes, I'm passionate about astrology, but I know within myself that I'm not as passionate as I was before Pluto ingressed into Capricorn and conjunct my natal sun and Mercury, right? So the positive expression, a higher expression that Antares holds would be good action, taking good action, okay? So I can already see that good action is me not going away and having no money to spend, and having to get these people to pay for me. That's just not who I am at all. And that's the truth, the higher expression of Jupiter, the truth. And there's intensity with Antares, because just like Mars, there's intensity, urgency. It can be chaotic energy, all right? It can seem chaotic energy. So it wasn't just I needed the car fixed. I ended up locking my keys, my phone in the car. I got a neighbour to drive to the real estate agent so I could get the spare key to come into this unit. Well, that key didn't work, did it? So I had to get what we call the road service, NRMA we call it here in Australia, RACQ, other states, and I had to get them to come. So I'm waiting. It's pouring rain here for over a week now, and I had to get them to come, break into the car so I could get the house keys, go to the doctor. I ended up being an hour and a quarter. So it was all chaotic, okay? It was chaotic. But for me, where I'm at, I just did it step by step, okay? Things like that, when you're locked out of your car, you're locked out of your unit, it's pouring outside, your phone's locked in the car, so you can't even contact anybody to help you. So it was very stressful the last 3 days, and there was a few tears. I woke up with tears yesterday. I woke up with tears this morning. However, the recovery time in Ascension is much easier, okay? We are humans. We do cry. You've got to allow that. Just because you're ascended does not mean, and you're operating in your light body, doesn't mean that you lose your human emotional body, and having the moon in Sag, and this is what we need to take into note as well, especially at 9 degrees, right, which is Mars energy, not that 9 degrees. We have to take into account, and look, moon in Sagittarius people, and when the moon's in Sagittarius, emotional energy is big, just like its ruler, Jupiter. Big emotions. When I have emotions, they can be big emotions. And I've been well aware of that since I was a child, that things really got to me in a big way when you have that moon in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is also freedom, right? The freedom to travel. So, this moon's trining Saturn. So no, there is no freedom to be traveling, Monique, locally, all right? Locally. So, these two fixed stars are important for this full moon. And so that's Antares this full moon in Sag will conjunct exactly Antares, and go and do a bit of a Google search about these fixed stars and the energy that they hold, especially if you've got anything at 9 degrees in mutable houses, okay? Because you've got that challenging square to your natal sun if you're a Pisces or a Virgo, all right? And you've still got those nodes hanging around in there. Now, the other fixed star is Aldabaran, okay? And Aldabaran is fixed at 9 to 10 degrees Gemini, and it is known as like the eye of God, okay? So already it's shown me its energy, Aldabaran, because I had to have a higher perspective about this trip. I had to accept that I cannot change the fact that my car needs fixing, right? A more rebellious energy, I would just go away on the little money that I had and hope for the best, okay? But no, that's not a higher point of view, okay? So there must be a reason why I'm not allowed to go away. That is my Aldabaran, is that they're, you know, to have the eye of illumination that my plans aren't going to work out this time, all right? As much as I would love them to. And that can be disappointing. But, you know, as we know, no attachment, no suffering. So I have to look at how attached I was at going away, all right? So think big emotional energy. Think big free desire for freedom. Maybe you'll even go and book a trip overseas, you know, so that you're actually planning. With Saturn in Aries, Saturn likes to plan, okay? Saturn loves to plan, like its mate Virgo. And, you know, maybe you can plan for that overseas trip with this full moon. So think big emotions and be aware and have compassion for those around us, okay? Because if they're having a meltdown this week, you can betcha it'll be about something that they wanted to do but couldn't do because there was a surprise, Uranus, that changed all the plans, okay? But because it's trining Saturn and sextiling Saturn, the sun sextiling Saturn, the moon trining Saturn, there'll be a method behind the madness of all of this, okay? Because Saturn is very method behind the madness energy. All right, so that's sort of what's going on, okay? They're the aspects. And we're just very lucky that it's a wide aspect from Uranus, but it's still an aspect. So that's my sad story. You know, I really appreciate going away because I work on people 6 days a week. My hands-on healing work. And, you know, I've been doing that for 16 years and my hands are actually need to stop doing that work. So, you know, expansion, Sagittarius. All right, so I'm going to have 2 weeks off healing others with my hands. You know, well, it's more than my hands, you know that. Okay, so that is our full moon. I'll be back on Saturday, the day before the full moon. So Northern Hemisphere, this is early on your Sunday morning. Sydney, Australia time, it is 6:45 p.m. Sunday Eve. Okay, so this weekend, you know, I'm glad I'm getting this out today. The energy's already in. So if you're feeling it, it's here. Mine was activated Monday with that Mars square Pluto. All right. So yes, out there in the collective, in media and what have you, you know, you may see what you see. I don't watch, but, you know, I don't need to. There's enough going on in my own life to understand the energy of the Pluto in Aquarius. Right. So, so that's it. Have a look at your chart. See if you've got any points, planets, especially the personal planets, 9 to 10 degrees, Sag or Gemini. Okay. And I'll be back. I'll be back to see you guys on Saturday. And I actually didn't feel like making this video today, but I got that and Aldabaran higher point of view that, you know, some people out there may need to hear this, okay, and may have similar circumstances have happened this week leading up to this full moon. So thank you, everybody. If you'd like a reading, go into the description section and my email will be there and we can get you set up for that. A soul urge reading, you know, soul healing. That's what I see in a chart. Your Pluto, your Chiron, your nodes, you know, all the dark, deep stuff. That's what I deal with. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I love you and I'll see you on Saturday. And let's have a good week, shall we? Bye.